आपा खोय, अपना तन शीतल करे, औरन को सुख होए कबीरा, औरन को सुख होए.
The title for this topic is Speak Such Speech. The translation reads, speak such words that one loses the mind's ego, your body remains cool and composed, and others also find peace. ऐसी वाणी बोलिए मन का आपा खोए, अपना तन शीतल करे, औरों को सुख होए. Now, what is he talking about here is known as austerity of speech. Austerity of speech, in fact, there's a reference to it in the 17th chapter of the Gita. 17th chapter, 15th verse of the Gita talks of this. Now when he says, speak such words, one loses the mind's ego. See, where today this morning I got a simple message and it keeps circulating, messages keep going around. And the simple message read, you know what is the 3-letter word which changes a 12-word situation? He said the 3-letter word is E-G-O, ego, that affects the 12-letter word relationships. So if you go to the bottom line of any relationship, what is it that ruptures the relationship? It is not the clash of views. It is obviously when we are two different people, we will have different personalities, we will have different points of views, different perceptions, but that doesn't necessarily mean there must be a clash of personalities. It's not we are like two bulls in a ring or two boxers in a ring and giving ourselves our peace of mind. It shouldn't be that way. So what actually hurts a relationship is not clash of views but clash of egos. Therefore when he says speak such speech, that another mind loses the mind's ego, means there is no challenge of your ego at all. There is no ego at all. When does one hurt another person's ego? It's interesting. Is when you start speaking opinions. Whose opinion is right? Is my opinion right or your opinion right? Who is right for that matter? Right or wrong comes in only when we're talking about opinions. But if I were to present facts of life, as much as possible, if you are factual, there is no necessity to have there's nothing to differ there, isn't it? So, I was referring to the austerity of speech in the 17th chapter of the Gita. Now what he says is, what is austerity of speech? He says, Anudvedakaram vakyam satyam priyetam chayat swadhyaya bhyasanam chaiva vangmayam tapa uchyate. This is the actual Sanskrit word. Now what it reads, what it means is, this is called austerity of speech. A speech which is spoken without excitement. A speech which is spoken truthful, which is pleasant, which is beneficial, and also a practice of sacred study. So take these factors. You speak without excitement, you are truthful, you are pleasant, it's beneficial, and it comes from a sacred study. So throughout the day we are constantly communicating to others, we are sharing our views, there's some transaction. Now when these factors are there involved in it, then he says it's an austerity of speech. And any of these are absent, then you are violating austerity of speech. Your body remains cool and composed, and another person also finds peace. So you're not actually challenging the other person. There's no necessity to challenge. So when he says you speak something which is very pleasant, as I've said, you're free from any ego. Very pleasant means there's a appealing to the other person. There is a common factor, a common denominator. It could be business, but you're talking in his interest. You're not talking in your own benefit. It could be a common factor, a common chapter, a common topic of interest, but you're not talking for your own self-benefit. In fact, when you meet people, sir, after we leave the company, what is the impression or what is the relish a person leaves is actually the character of the person. You may not know that person when you are with him, but when he leaves, like after you eat certain sweets, no, the taste is lingering until you go and actually brush your teeth. Sometimes, let's say you eat onion. Even after you brush the teeth and you gargle, others will say, hey, did you eat onion? Such a powerful smell. They call, what do you call that?
Panjan.
Oh, Panjan to qualification is that. What do you call that? It's called rasa. There is a lingering flavor, whether be it spicy or whether be it sweet. It has a rasa. So when you meet someone and you part, what is the rasa that person leaves behind? Is the nature of the person. So something which is pleasant to other person means it has to be in the common interest. When there is absence of it, what happens? When there is absence of pleasantness, you get into an unnecessary argument, a heated exchange of views. It gets into short of a fist fight. So one is presence of pleasantness, the absence of it, what happens? Austerity of speech. And when he says speak without excitement, how does one speak? How should one speak? No excitement at all. What does it mean? When does one get excited? You said happiness or anger or sorrow, it is nothing but a platform of emotions. So when emotion overpowers you, you are very excited. And emotion is the realm of the mind, which means your actions are very impulsive in nature. When you say impulsive, they are not rational. The opposite of a rational, conscious, measured actions. Opposite. So when your actions are not measured, are not thought after, are not rational, then you become very excited, which is impulsive, temperamental. It comes from the mind. So opposite of that is, as I said, it comes from a deep thought with considerable reflection backing it. Now, for example, if I have to come and share these ideas, obviously there could be things which are coming off an understanding, but certainly it's not impulsive. It cannot be impulsive, isn't it? Because the moment it becomes impulsive, then it doesn't make sense to you what I'm saying. So it has to be well thought, well rationalized. So when he says without excitement, you have to speak such words are without excitement. So the moment emotion takes over, you must understand, you actually don't make sense to the other person, nor do you actually make sense to yourself. That's the reason afterwards we say, "Cha, I shouldn't have said that." Have we not fallen in our own image? Forget other person. There are moments of it in all our lives. But what helps us is an awareness. What it is to set the tone, what it is to be in that mindset. So to speak without excitement, to be truthful. What is truth for me may be false for you. What is right for me may be wrong for you, isn't it?
Right and wrong is okay, but truth is one only.
Correct.
Truth can't be two.
Truth can't be true. So when he says being truthful, what does it mean?
Whatever
You should
we are
say
saying
what you
is-
mean.
Whatever you are saying.
Now I only take answers where my eyesight is there. So people should, it's the second class I'm repeating. After that we'll start punishment. This is the only time I can take liberty with the host. After that he's shooting guns at me. Yes ma, बोलिए. हाँ, माफ कीजिए हाँ. हाँ जी, बोलिए ma. You're saying something.
The truthful means like whatever you are saying, it has to be right. Like
Trustworthy, faithfulness. Sir.
Yes sir.
Trustworthy.
So you don't know me.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I don't think it is right for me to expect you to completely trust me what I'm saying. There could be an element of benefit, no doubt. I've been invited through a known person who has some credibility, but that you will not sell your liberty to everything that is being said because you don't know, you're not measured everything that is coming your way. So there could be an element of examining what is he saying, on what basis he is saying. Is it not possible that you are continuously measuring everything I'm saying? You are not completely trusting everything that's given? Blindfold, you're not taking anything. Like you're in a new place, you can't trust people there. Where am I? No doubt, you check into a hotel, first thing you will be worried, is it safe to put my things in the locker? Even to put your things in the safe, you'll be thinking twice. Not that you will be suspecting or a reason to suspect, nor is there a reason for you to suspect me, but when you say truth, it's not trust. So, what is truth? Are you getting what I'm saying? I'm not saying you're wrong, but there's more to it. Truthfulness is just being factual, I just mentioned earlier. Vis-a-vis opinionated. And it is such a difficult task. I don't know whether you can even conceive what challenge we have at our taking this position to be able to convey this message given by the great masters. It is such a challenge never to bringing your personality into the teachings and just to present what has been laid by them to you right now. For which it requires a lot of study, a lot of attention, a lot of application to actually rack your head to find out what are these men saying. Because it is an added responsibility on us to let you know what they are saying. I'm sure you're not interested in what Vinay has to say, what you're interested in what Sant Kabir has to say. So when I am trying to bring that message out, remove my individual opinion from this and present truths to you for you to take it, isn't it? And that's not easy. And many don't even understand that. Many think, oh, it is his view. It's not my view. In fact, I could be telling something to you which I may not completely agree with it, but I have to speak the truth to you. It's very, very interesting to take your personality out of it. So when you have to speak the truth, you are just being factual. Vis-a-vis opinionated. And if you want to know the difference between opinion and truth, put on the television now. And let's listen what is the views of people on the budget they announced. Each one is giving their opinion of what was factually mentioned in the assembly. Each one is giving their own picture of that. That's an opinion, isn't it? But the truth is what came out as a factual details. These are measures being taken. Whether right or wrong, good or bad, benefit or no benefit, that is secondary. There's a strict difference you got to draw. And when you present it, it is not necessary that your views must be accepted. The problem is when we say something, we always believe it must be accepted and followed.
Not necessary.
Not necessary. There may not be any takers of what your belief, what your views are, or not even your views, what you are stating. You got to be very objective. So when he says truthful, not opinionated, you got to be factual, be objective, even when you're not taken. Right? And then one of the most important facets of austerity of speech is it has to be beneficial. So whatever you're saying, it has to be in the interest of others. It has to comfort him. It must find peace in that person. You can't speak in a way that it unsettles other person. So opposite of finding peace is unsettling you. Let's say I come here, you're invited with all the love, you give all that concern, but I say something which unsettles you, which starts bothering you, which hurts you. I have violated austerity of speech. I may have said it in the best interest to educate you, but I have unsettled sacred study. So austerity of speech will only come when you have the practice of sacred study. Means when somebody has this wisdom you've gathered from study of the Shastras, when you have this spiritual wisdom, then you can uphold the austerity of speech. You may say, sir, how do I say that? Now, one of the most important aspects of knowledge, which is often violated now, it might connect to what you're saying, what you just said. Knowledge should always be taken. Knowledge should never be given. Let it be sought from you. If you have anything worthy of giving, let them come and take it. Don't shower your views and opinions of others. However beneficial you are, however you are not speaking from excitement, however truthful you are, yet if your knowledge or opinion is not sought, and if you were to present your view, it is of no use. Because you are actually forcing your views onto them when they don't want it. It will not work. There will be only a backlash. And it will leave you very disappointed, very annoyed, very affected. This is the fundamental mistake people make.
It means you should answer only when you are asked.
Advice when you
Not
advice.
Advice, yeah.
Never ever
Suggestion,
Offer your knowledge.
enforce or force yourself onto others
Others.
intellectually.
But this applies to kids also?
You tell me,
No, it doesn't apply, I am telling you.
why you think
Because
so?
what they think, what mommy is telling, we know it. We don't need her advices. But we know we have to advise them.
Do you know why they think they don't need advice?
Nowadays, kids are like that.
कभी भी एडवाइस दे देंगे तो लेके ऐसा कुछ ऐसे ही होगा.
It is, they don't want the advice because they are getting over advice. Let for a moment put yourself out of that position of a mother and stand apart and watch the conversation of the situation. Just stand apart. The problem is we are so involved in that role we play, we don't know where we are faltering. When I say that, I'm talking from a parent's perspective. I'm not taking the stance of a guru. I am a father myself, I know what it is. So the moment you thrust your views onto them and not, see, I can't claim any parent 100% objective to the child. When you say objective, क्या समझते हो objective? Objective means you don't treat your child as a third person. A child needs correction, you correct and leave it. No. When you correct the child, you want the child to actually take your advice, follow the advice, uphold it, respect you, take it on face value. You are coming up with a lot of conditions, a lot of expectations, and it comes like an imposition. And they are revolting something which is only unnatural. Let's be fair to them.
Parents are usually fair to the children, and we feel they don't know, so we have to advise them, and we have to bring them to a good path or a right thing. We have to advise.
I'm not saying you're wrong. Your intention is very true.
Yeah.
Your intention is right, but the way you're going about executing the intention is not being accepted well. You know the reality, I know the reality. The kids are revolting. Why? Because you're violating this principle. They don't want your advice. In the heart of hearts, they don't want to listen to you. It's just for you to find out why. Not that you're speaking false. You're speaking everything that's beneficial, but they don't want to receive it. Because you're forcing your way onto them. Leave them. Give them that space to grow. Believe me, kids are 10 times smarter than you and me. Much, much smarter. You know what a kid has is known as Udana Shakti. Udana Shakti is the capacity to absorb knowledge. That is very high when it is young. It starts fading as you grow older. So for you and me to learn may take a little while, for them very fast. You don't need to tell second, third time, believe me. Even the most dumb child, they are fairly smarter than you and me, given the age and benefit. So if they are not following something, is because it is not there in their system to appreciate it, or they don't look up to you as a standard to emulate. They have got somebody else as a standard, they are following them. You should become a role model for them to follow. That is the primary objective of a parent, is to be a role model for them to follow, and leave it for them to pick it up. So what you need to do, what we all need to do, is create that atmosphere where they are growing up in a culture, in an environment which sets the standards for them. And if at all you need to advise it indirectly. If I were you, I will not do that. Leave it. And just leave it at that. Believe me, give them the time, give them the space, give them the respect that they have a personality of their own, they have a choice of their own. That's the reason the trend is, the moment they can be independent, first thing is they walk out of the house. They can't afford to be with you. Why? How long will they carry the burden on their shoulders? They can't. They say, no, enough is enough, thank you very much. Emotions aside, reality is something else. Feelings aside, you feel for them, but yet the reality in every home is this, there's a backlash. So when I do workshops on how to mold children or parenting, when I say molding children, the message is not for children, the message is for parents. I say there's nothing wrong with kids. They're just a bundle of energy which is being wrongly harnessed. It is just backlashing on you. You go and stand in front of a vent of a furnace, the furnace is going to burn you. You're throwing your vent on the wrong side. You're not molding them. You're dealing with them with a lot of frustration, a lot of disappointment. That shouldn't happen. I hardly come across parents who are enjoying their parentage. That spirit, what we're talking about.
Yeah.
The moment you give them the freedom. See, there's a fear. Bhai kahan se aata hai? We let them lose, what will happen? We must inject discipline, we must teach them what is right, what is wrong. No doubt. See, there's a difference between freedom. Please forgive me if I'm being too technical, because I have to answer the thing. There's a difference between giving person a freedom vis-a-vis being licentious. Licentious means you have the license to do anything you want. We don't want our kids to be licentious, but yet we want to give them the freedom to choose what is right, what is wrong, and empower them. Give them the ownership, give them the responsibility of their life, to let them live their life. Just because you have an authority over age over them, don't be a warden, don't be a boss, don't be. You just need to do is get over the little anxiety for the well-being of your child. Just little anxiety. All you need to do is just drop, chhod do. Just the little anxiety. Don't let them lose. Then the fear is, oh, what will happen if you're not letting them lose? You're just letting go your anxiety. You know, when you go to a bank, a person who is even wanting to do mischief, what is the first thing he will see? He actually starts looking around. Because he knows in a bank he is being watched. Cameras are there. So you become very conscious when you know you're being watched. Whether you want to do good or bad, or whether there's a system to follow, you know being watched. Even in a traffic signal, when you know there is a presence of police, instantly everyone behaves himself because you know they're being watched. You may not be singled out, but yet the fact that there's a presence, you instantly behave yourself. Isn't it?
That's true.
Now, if you as a leader, head of the family, as a mother, if the child knows I am being watched, that's all the child needs to correct himself or herself. Don't have to go overboard in bringing in kind of a military imposing discipline as to what to and what not to. Today all our education to a child is only telling what to do and what not to do. Don't do this and do this. And when you keep telling a child what to and what not to, don't and do's, you're not giving the freedom for them to think for themselves. Is it right or wrong? Oh, I am to do this because I am being told to do, I do it. I am being told not to do, I don't do it. Is it right for me to do or not? That is not, you're not giving a chance for them to grow. And this needs time. It's not something you're experimenting on. This is where you need trust. You have to have a lot of trust on these ideas. Give up your little ego and say, no, I'll have to surrender to this great knowledge, and perhaps, not perhaps, they can't go wrong. If anything is wrong, is because you are not implementing it correctly, but they will not go wrong. So always hold back the advice until somebody really wants it from you. So when they are desperate, when they really want it, they'll come and take it.
But this kind of freedom we can give to children only up to certain age, like not at the younger age of, obviously. Younger age is...
No, it can still, not to the extent where it brings about danger to the child. You know, even in a park you leave a child to run around, to the extent you know the child will not hurt herself. Yeah, stay
But
in
keep an eye on him.
Keep an eye on the child. You don't leave the child and then say you are going for a kitty party or you're gone off somewhere else. No, you're always vigilant. The same principle is being done mentally. It's a mental vigilance. They should know your presence. And all this comes from a lot of maturity. Otherwise you become very excited. Everything is excited. Everything is a lot of emotion. Everything is... you can't... Everything is drama. Not required. I will become the custodian of others' conscience. Since when... What that means is, since when have I started deciding what is right or wrong for you? Since when I have become the authority for you to decide what you should do is right or wrong? Since I have assumed that responsibility or self-appointed role that I am a custodian of your conscience, just because I have a role or responsibility as a parent or a mother or a teacher or a tutor or a boss or a chairman or a director of a company, since when I have started deciding what you should do and start imposing my views on others? May every being and creature in this planet have the authority and the right to freedom. Imagine we are being put in the same situation what a child is being put in. Being told constantly, imposed. on the most essential, let's say the Vedic lifestyle is being imposed on us, you will kick me out of the house. Time will come, he says, sir, I've had enough of you, thank you very much. Hope we never meet again. Bye-bye. I need to draw a line what I say, to what extent I say. The moment I become forceful of these ideas, I'll unsettle you. You will start revolt. We've got to be very realistic when we come to a scenario, how to apply this austerity of speech. So what should be the goal of each one of us is to take a serious note of these pointers and apply it in the speech. Right from going back home, you will be communicating your ideas. How do I apply it? It should be without excitement. It should be pleasant. It should be beneficial. It should be truthful. It should be given only if it is, as long as give them the freedom and respect to function the way they want, but yet create that atmosphere. So you can't force anyone to follow anything, can you? So you can create atmosphere and thereafter it's up to them. That's what in the third chapter of the Gita Krishna says, Yadyada charati shreshtaha tat tat eva itara jana. Shreshtaha means a leader. Yadyada charati shreshtaha, whatever a leader does, tat tat eva itara jana, other people follow. Sayat pramanam kurute loka sadanu vartate. Whatever standards he said, others emulate.
Like if you take the definition of leadership, you are basically influencing the behavior of the person to get your job done.
Absolutely.
Right. So there you have to influence the behavior of the person.
And how would you do that? As we did mention, if in any way they can look up to you and inject that quality and express it in their own way. See, if you have that integrity as a leader, you could be head of a department, head of an organization, head of a company. If you have that quality of integrity, and if that can resonate in everything that you do, believe me, it will permeate like an earthquake in an entire organization. It will create tremors in them. They dare anyone down the line will think of leading an unethical way. You will not bribe even a government department to get a contract. Never mind, I will struggle, but I will not bribe to get a contract. If that is the ethical standard the leader sets, that quality will percolate. It will take time, but you will be known. In the corporate circle, you will be known. Here is an organization which lives by the standards.
But then you motivate your people by giving examples.
Yeah, certainly. But you will become an example for them.
Yes.
See, example is, as I said, a leader, a leader always does things, never shows the way, he leads the way. So you should never tell what they should do, you do what you want them to do. So you want your child to do something, you want your child to sleep at 9:30 in the night. You sleep 9:15.
You have to demonstrate.
You can't have a life where you will indulge it till 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, you're watching. And you can't tell a child sleep early. No, you may say, that's my thing. You do what is right for you, then the child will not follow.
Because you can only preach what you practice.
And when you look at that, there's a disparity between what you talk and what you live. Therefore, you're not role models for them. Therefore, they don't want to listen to you. However right you are, however right I am.